marks, get set, and go away.
You know who wins these races? The person who weighs less.
Get out! I avenged my lady.
Seagull nearly broke my neck. I'm done for the night.
Oh, wow. It was a car crash, not a skiing accident.
A car crash? Not a skiing accident, that's his epiphany. Of course, because it's never lupus, but why is a car crash so relevant? Well, people tend to be more likely to crash when they don't see very well. Very excited to be reacting to House MD Season 7, Episode 3, Unwritten. On this channel, we are reacting to all 177 House videos. This will be episode 135. Let's see if I can get the diagnosis before House does as a doctor working in London.
It's done.
You gotta let me read it.
Not this time.
How am I supposed to help with the next book if you don't?
There isn't going to be a next book.
Put it down, or I'll make you.
You don't even exist.
Miss Tanner. Oh, dear God.
Which of these says I want to sleep with you more?
What did you do to piss Cuddy off? House, you're stealing from a woman in a coma.
Name one thing that Cuddy and I had in common besides work. I need to find something that we both like doing besides each other. Is there a reason why you're following me?
You're not going to believe who just checked into the ER.
EMTs found her unconscious. Her maid said she had a seizure.
Love your books. Why'd you try to kill yourself? Burn on the side of your face caused by gunpowder. This woman is on a 72-hour psychiatric hold. If she tries to run, shoot her with a sedative.
We're taking this case because you're a fan?
You're taking this case because I said so.
Alice Tanner. She's the woman you put on the psych hold. This isn't a date. We're on a case.
How do you get in here?
It wasn't a gesture. I had the damn seizure before I could get the gun in my mouth.
We need to observe you overnight to see if you have another seizure.
How many of these she today?
Interesting storyline. Seizures are generally seen as a bad thing, but this one seems to have saved her life. You may say, well, she didn't want to live anyway, but we know that she's depressed, isolated, and hallucinating. That isn't a lady in a state of mind to make a decision about whether she lives or dies. Don't just take my word for it though. Henriquez and colleagues looked at this and found that only 21.6% of people who attempted to end their life actually wished they succeeded after the event. Of the others, 42.7% were neutral and 35.6% had wished they didn't make the attempt and were glad to be alive. This is important as those who wished they succeeded were 2.5 times more likely to eventually complete the act. She may not have that choice though if the team don't figure out what caused the seizure in the first place. House is excited about her tuna can, and why is that? Well, tuna classically accumulates mercury because of what they eat and where they are in the food chain. That means you can get mercury poisoning, which can eventually cause seizures, but you'd need to eat more than 2 to 3 cans per week to be at risk of that, and this patient seems to be eating that per day. That means there's a good chance she does actually have mercury poisoning, and the treatment then would be to remove it with something like EDTA or dimercaprol. That binds the metal and would help her pee it out. But what if her fishy fixation is just a side path leading to a jungle of nowhere? The house helper said that the patient struggles with joint pain as well, and we know the helper is healthy, which drops the chances that it could be an environmental cause. The title of the episode is called Unwritten as well, and there's been a lot of mystery around her actual book. Maybe the clue to figuring out the whole puzzle is within that book's pages. Oh, it would be very House for the lady's hallucination to be the one that actually ends up helping him solve the case. We saw that he had a scar on the upper left side of his face. Where is that from? It looked to be a wound that hadn't been closed with stitches. Was he then out in the wilderness and fell and couldn't get hospital help? To be that far away from society, then maybe ticks might be on the top of the hit list. That puts tick-borne diseases like Rocky Mountain spotted fever or Lyme disease way up the list. Lyme is more likely to present without other symptoms, and the rash may be hidden, especially if she doesn't see anyone else. Oh, I've got to go with Lyme disease as my first diagnostic guess from her hallucination scar. That would be a crazy hit. Let's get more clues.
You wet the bed, just not sure how yet.
Unilateral hyperhidrosis. Interesting. We got her urine and blood samples back. They're normal.
She wants a female doctor.
Put some lipstick on Chase and start chelation therapy. I need some help with Alice Tanner. She wants a vagina.
I told you to hire a temporary replacement for 13 2 weeks ago.
I talked to them so I could help you get better. You're fired.
You don't look so hot. Want to talk about it?
You remind me of my ex-husband. A cute man, but problems in the bedroom department. He cheated on me every chance he could.
BP and heart rate are spiking.
Excess adrenaline could explain seizures and skyrocketing BP.
A pheochromocytoma.
Get her out here. She's got metal in her leg. The MRI's magnetic field superheated the metal, causing third-degree burns.
She wants to die. You cannot trust anything she says.
MRI usually doesn't cause an issue with metalwork, as most implants are now titanium, which are MRI safe. That's because titanium is a paramagnetic material, which makes it unaffected by the MRI's magnetic field. The other thing is that the screws for surgical metalwork keep it fixed in place fairly securely, but that may not always be the case. There was actually a wild case that made the headlines last year of a woman who didn't empty all of her pockets as the MRI machine pulled her butt plug like a railgun through her body. Well, why was she wearing it? Well, her reasoning was that the company had said it was 100% silicone and failed to mention the metal core supporting that 100% silicone. I wish this was fake, but the FDA confirmed it with their report. Sorry if that's ruined your Friday plans. Our patient may not see her next Friday though, unless we figure out what's actually wrong with her. So far we know she's had seizures, hallucinations, hyperhidrosis, and sudden onset high blood pressure. Hyperhidrosis means excessive sweating, and Foreman mentioned it was just on one side of the body. That means it's less likely to be a hormone problem and more likely to be a nerve problem. Why is that? Well, the nervous system is separated quite cleanly based on the size of the body, and we know that sweat glands are controlled by the fight or flight nervous system. But rather than one being overactive, if it's that both sides would have been overactive but there's a nerve issue on one side, then the problem isn't on the side that's sweating excessively, but the opposite one. It's just like if you smile with a stroke, it's not the side that moves up that's the problem, even though that's the one that draws our attention. Interestingly, a pancreas tumor, which is a lung cancer pressing on the fight or flight nervous system, could cause reduced sweating on one side. If she's isolated, then maybe she chain smokes and we don't know about it, or maybe she used to work in a boiler manufacturer and was exposed to asbestos. That doesn't quite explain the high blood pressure though, as that would be from over, not under stimulation. So yeah, I'm not sold on that. Definitely a few other things that could cause these fluctuations. We need more clues.
You need to make her cooperate. You have to offer her something she wants.
You expect me to believe you're going to help me kill myself?
Backup plan to take home with you.
You're a real bastard.
You found and self-administered what you thought was a potentially lethal narcotic. Answers could be in the book.
The typewriter key should have left impressions on these ribbon fibers. They would also remove a layer of ink.
Does Cuddy know you're using the MRI for this?
Let's say yes.
Congratulations. It's a book.
Sam reprogrammed the MRI to read Alice's typewriter ribbon.
Found something. Whatever it is, it's encased around her heart. She has a pericardial effusion.
She ends it on a cliffhanger. I mean, who does that? How do you get that damn scar on his cheek? And why is he obsessed with yo-yos? I know why she wanted to kill herself. His mentor has contracted a mysterious illness, sensitivity to light and depression.
It's lupus.
Can't be lupus. It isn't curable. She's still gonna kill herself as soon as she gets released tomorrow.
Go-karts? Really?
Your mom said you love go-karts.
On your marks, get set, and go away.
You know who wins these races? The person who weighs less.
Get out! I avenged my lady.
Seatbelt nearly broke my neck. I'm done for the night.
Oh, wow. It was a car crash, not a skiing accident.
A car crash? Not a skiing accident, that's his epiphany. Of course, because it's never lupus, but why is a car crash so relevant? Well, people tend to be more likely to crash when they don't see very well. One thing that could have affected that is if she lost her peripheral vision. The classical way that happens is something called bitemporal hemianopia. Oh, that would work so well. How? If she has a tumor in her pituitary gland, this could be pressing at the point where the optic nerves cross over, called the optic chiasm. It could also be releasing hormones that stimulate the thyroid or the adrenal glands, called ACTH or TSH. Probably more the TSH, as ACTH would have caused weight gain and she's quite slim. That could be called secondary hypothyroidism over a long time that can cause heart failure, which causes the effusion around the heart. If the tumor was large enough, it could cause some kind of light sensitivity, I suppose, although that kind of doesn't fit here. All right, I'm going for pituitary tumor with loss of peripheral vision as my second diagnostic guess. Take out the tumor and replace the hormones, and she'll be writing a Jack Cannon ending House would be proud of in no time.
You got me.
You damaged your thyroid gland in the crash. You have hypothyroidism. That's why you feel so tired and worn out.
How did
You can finish the story the right way, the way Jack Cannon deserves.
Why can't you just leave me?
I can't move.
Damaged thyroid wouldn't explain the paralysis.
Post-traumatic syringomyelia from a 15-year-old car crash. We find it and remove it. She should be able to regain full function.
Alice is refusing any more treatment.
Why would she lie about the accident?
Maybe Alice Tanner's just her pen name.
You weren't alone in the car crash. Your son was with you, Helen. The books are your way of keeping him alive.
I let him drive. He only had a learner's permit.
It wasn't the crash that killed him. Your son had a brain aneurysm. The only thing the crash is killing is you.
Wasn't my fault, Mom.
And it wasn't mine.
Her son didn't have a brain aneurysm.
I'd like to thank you. I can finally move on. Thank you.
That was...
Oh, shut up.
Syringomyelia related to a car accident. Oh, what a diagnosis, except it also doesn't make much sense. How would a spinal cord lesion randomly cause a seizure or light sensitivity? It usually causes numbness in the hands and weakness in the arms or legs. In all fairness, it can get slowly worse over the years, which is what happened, and can lead to paralysis, although it wouldn't be in random episodes throughout the whole body. Also interesting that he made up the aneurysm in the son to give her closure, curing both her body and her mind. Definitely better House episodes, though I feel this season 7 isn't quite as medically dense as season 6, but it's early. We can see how it goes. 7.5 out of 10 entertainment, 6.8 out of 10 accuracy, 7.8 out of 10 diagnosis. This episode doesn't make full sense until you watch the previous one, where an overachieving girl loses her mojo.